to receive it, okay? And you have to take it as if it is 100%.
Okay. So, the Mormons are awesome. Check this out. So you're waiting for the resurrection, the direct descendant. For the reincarnation, everybody calls it something different. Yes, when it shows up at your door, you guys sit on him. I really said shit. Last week. Aren't you supposed to be helping people in need? Well, the one person that was blessed in a Mormon temple, my great-grandfather in Redlands, was the deacon. And you guys still shit on me. Well, I'm glad you guys showed your true colors, because I'm going to take the whole entire religion completely down because of what you guys have done to me. You can't shut me up. And there's the link right there. And I gave you guys proof. Now I said that. Now back it up.
If you really want to contact the spirit in the universe, then don't even come to that great divine presence, the great spirit in the universe, with your silly ass religion.
There's a moment in the gospel where people were accusing Jesus of equating himself with God, and he says, but doesn't the scripture say ye are all gods?
The bottom line on Christianity, the teachings of Christ, and the teaching of the world, and the whole story about Jesus in the New Testament is actually very simple.
YESHIUA is giving you the proof. What do you guys think? My boy saved your life. Shut the fuck up.
Just this year, in Jerusalem, we found an object from a moment just before all those reforms started taking place. And this was a seal that belonged to a senior Jewish figure called YESHIUA. So this is a seal that he's going to use to certify documents, to seal letters, to put his imprimatur on things. Very, very important item to him that really stands for his authority and his integrity. Senior Jewish figure. What's the picture on that seal? It's an Assyrian Dingir, or genie, or Anunnaki.
Yeah.
You know, the classic winged Anunnaki. He saw no conflict between his worldview and having an Anunnaki on his ring for his seal. Because at that time, Judaism still spoke about the Elohim, still remembered the Tseva Hashemayim, still remembered what they looked like, because the Jerusalem temple hadn't been defaced so you could no longer see images of them. The Nehushtan hadn't been confiscated so you could no longer see what Yahweh looked like. And in their minds, the Elohim of Judaism were all part of this wider family of stories of Elohim, Dingir, Anunnaki, Anuna. There was no conflict.
Right.
And that is a real object discovered just this year to tell you that Judaism was something different before these ritual and narrative changes were brought in.
Right, absolutely. That's just incredible.
And then you see that object, you're going to go back and you're going to read the Bible differently.
Yeah, I want to see this thing again. We're going to superimpose it over this video. It's just incredible. I remember reading in the Old Testament, it said they came across the Anak, and we were grasshoppers in their eyesight. So a reference there to some really big people. And they call them the Anak, which I thought was interesting, since, you know, the ancient texts talk about the Anunnaki and the Anuna. It seems like there's references of these beings as many different names all around the world.
That's right. I mean, in the plural, they're referred to as the Anakim, which sounds strangely like Anunnaki. And you've got Anak and the Anactorians in another part of the world. You've got Anak with a Q in the Muslim tradition. And the idea of there being much bigger people living in the world does repeat all around the world. It seems to be a bit of a taboo these days to talk about giants or people who are much, much bigger in the past. I don't know why it's become a taboo. It wasn't in the 19th century when we were digging up giant finds, and it wasn't. If you go to Josephus, he's completely unembarrassed by these stories, and he says in his writing, the Greek legends of the Titans, that's really their version of our memories of people like the Anakim and the men of renown produced through hybridization in Genesis 6. So Josephus saw these stories as referring to real cultural memory of sharing the planet with much bigger people. And I wonder also if there are memories of the time when we did share the planet with the Gigantopithecus and with the Denisovans and with the Chinese dragon people and with Homo floresiensis and the Neanderthals. There was a time when the human type was much, much more diverse.
Yes.
And we shouldn't be surprised to have cultural stories that seem to carry that memory. So I don't know why there's such a taboo around it today.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. It's just why the taboo, I don't even know. But I think a lot of it has to do with a lot of fear. I think a lot of people have been put in a fear state when it comes to their religion. And this fear prevents them from asking, looking deeper, researching deeper, trying to get a better understanding, because I think in some ways they think that they're offending their God, or that's at least what I think they believe.
Yes, I think some people construct their faith like a Jenga tower. You know, these, I don't know if you've ever played Jenga, where you've got these little wooden blocks, you build a tower, and then you have to pull little pieces out and see if the towers still stand up.
Yeah.
And I think some people carry their faith in that way.